So you bought this brand new awesome Sony FX30 or FX3, and now you have stuff such as microphones, handles, things like that that you want to attach on top of the camera. Now, despite the FX30 and the FX3 having an internal cage built in with plenty of quarter 20s for magic arms and things like that, it does suffer from one basic issue. Number one is it is going to have a digital shoe, so it's not a problem if you're trying to attach a microphone. But if you're trying to attach a handle, well, you're a little bit out of luck. So one of the reasons and one of the things that you can do is to use a cage, and this is the brand new cage from SmallRig. So this is the model number 4138, and it's almost kind of like a half cage kit, which I definitely like. So I use a SmallRig cage on the camera I'm recording on right now, which is a Sony a7 IV. And before going out, I mean, like, I love the frame and everything on the FX30, but I desperately needed to have a handle so that we can have extra cold shoes for a teleprompter, for a phone holder for a teleprompter. Then basically, if we're going to use one of these, you're going to put the receiver on top. You use a Track E timecode generator, so we need a place to attach those, and a handle is really, really one of those nice places to do it because you have 1, 2, 3 different cold shoe adapters as well. So let's take a look at what it comes with, and I'll kind of show you how we can kit this out. So this is definitely a different packaging for what you find with SmallRig. Usually it's a box within a box, and it's just in there within styrofoam. Here we're going to have that. So we have the actual cage. Inside we are going to get 2 additional screws, and I'll show you how that works. And then in here we are going to have the cable clamp, and I'll show you that. And then we have the bridge for on top. So one of the first things that you're going to find about the cage is that now it is a half cage design, so it doesn't block up over the top. Number 2 is if you haven't had an A7 IV cage for the FX30, they did want to have a little bit of a contour. So what you have is the problem with the battery door opening. So here you have a swing out door similar to what you have on the Sony a7 IV cages, and so before you change the battery you would open this door, then you'd be able to drop this one in. Now what's interesting about this cage, and at first I'm like, wait, what's going on with it, is the edges are almost kind of like rugged type look, and at first I'm like, wait, this is really, really already well used, but it's brand new. They're kind of going for this vintage type look, so all of the edges are basically a little bit rub off, where we kind of have this vintage look. I thought it was just mine, but it actually is made this way. The other cages are not, so do keep that in mind. Alright, so the way that you're going to install this is you're going to take your FX3. If you have a plate on there, you would want to remove that. Okay. Now you actually don't need to take the lens out for the most part unless you have like a really big massive lens. Slides in right from there. And what you're going to find in the bottom is you are going to have a quarter 20 screw, and you have a magnetic screwdriver in here. So start putting it in. Okay. So we're not going to tighten it up all the way, because on the sides here you're going to see you have 2 screw holes here. So this is what these screws are going to be for. They are also going to secure the external cage from the 2 sides. So we're going to have one here that we're going to drop in. Okay. And we are going to have one which is on this side, and this is a smaller screw. Okay. So that's tight. This is tight. And now we can go back and tighten up this main one. Okay. So the cage is now installed. So basically, you are going to add a little bit of ruggedness. One of the things I think by attaching this metal cage, it's also going to help soak up the heat a little bit more from there. As you can see, you can still have access to all of your ports. So you're good on there. You can open up the the memory card holder on this side. And on the bottom, you flip this cap down, and then you can open up the battery compartment and access that way. So the features on this cage are going to be, you do have a full ARCA in here, so you can attach it directly to the tripod. You don't need any extra ARCA plates. You do have this magnetic mount that you can put the screwdriver in here. There we go. You do get extra quarter 20s on the bottom. If you do, let's say, for example, want to add it to a slider or things like that, you have ample 3/8 and quarter-inch screws on here. And then you have an additional cold shoe adapter here. So the next thing is you're going to have an option if you want to install this bridge. So if you have an FX3 or an FX30 with an optional audio handle, then obviously that is going to attach to the hot shoe. So you wouldn't actually do anything with it. But if you want to attach one of these type handles, you would want to install this bridge. So this bridge is going to go right on top, and it is going to screw into the 2 quarter 20s. And there is a forward and back. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to borrow our screwdriver. Okay, so what we now have here is a bridge. It is going to touch a little bit to this one. And what we have here is a 3/8 and 2 quarter 20s. And if you have a NATO rail, or like I think it's an RE rail as well, it'll work just like that. You do have 2 little holes here on the side, which are going to be for the indexing pins. So we're going to put this handle in. And I guess I'll put it as I do usually, pointing forward. And we are good. So now we have our cage and we have our handle on the FX30. So I probably put our timecode reader on there and the receiver. So I do like putting the microphone here on the side. So we would have that, connect the cable right here into the side as well, so you're good. Alternatively, if you want, you can actually just position the audio. Once again, depending on your needs, you can mount the microphone wherever you want to. So totally up to you. Now the final thing, which we haven't, you can do that as well, depending on the lens, but this is an ultra wide, so it might actually cover it. Actually, this is a good one. So we have an 11 millimeter here. And so the handle is not in the picture. So we're completely good with that. Okay. So let's put that back in. All right, so the only other option that you're going to have is whether you want to install this cable clamp. So this is an optional thing, and this is totally going to depend on whether you're going to have a connection to the HDMI. So you have this. It's a screw. It's going to screw into the front of the cage. So I'll just show you. Okay, let's tighten up. And what we have here is basically now a clamp, so when you open up the door and you put a cable through, you can screw this down, and it is going to hold the HDMI cable in so that it is not going to pop out on you. And this is going to be important, let's say, for example, if you're using a monitor like an Atomos with a recorder, or you're going to be live streaming and you need HDMI out. You have lots of cables in the studio, things like that, so you don't want to get pulled out. If you're vlogging, obviously it's going to be a little bit pain in the butt, because now this is also going to be taking up a little bit more space. So me personally, since I don't use an external monitor, or at least not with this camera yet, I am going to remove this option. No, I'll just keep it in there for now. So that is the small rig cage for the Sony FX3 and FX30. Once again, you can use both of them, and very, very, very reasonably priced, and it really, really looks good on these cameras.